So, welcome to today's video where I'm joined by, I need to do the arm properly, Mr. Bradley Pitt. Yeah, I'm bobbing around here on a boat. but yeah, I'm joined by Bradley today to give you guys some information that you don't regularly see on other webinars, videos, or whatever. So Bradley, also affectionately known as the Rain Man, has a pretty cool plugin that we are going to basically do a live walkthrough of just now. But Bradley, I appreciate you coming on and showing this to the audience. Now, just before we do a walkthrough, can you summarize in layman's terms in less than 60 seconds what the fuck this plugin's going to do to help people?
Yeah, so ideally it helps people create location pages and location relevance for their websites. And it also can be used to set up general location relevance, but ours also creates keyword tie-ins from an SEO play. And you can create the keyword relevant pages, you can create the location relevant pages. You know, it's pretty much carte blanche as far as what you want to do. And it ties back reviews to local businesses. It ties back to the reviewers. I mean, it gives just local prominence. And it uses an API key called Prominence that most people aren't aware of.
So that obviously sounds good. I do want, before we get the walkthrough, I want to dig into a few particular areas. You mentioned the API Prominence. Now, put that aside for 1 second. There's obviously tons of very similar tools out there, or plugins out there that do very similar stuff. What is the difference between yours and those other ones, and what is this Prominence thing, and why that's so important in part of the process?
So there's a couple of different answers to that. The first one is we always want to be prominent in the eyes of Google, right, within our websites. We have the ability to tie back our websites to our GMBs and back and forth. There's the instance where somebody has a national brand and they're not being found locally for local terms. So this actually allows you to go in and push that information out and use Google's Prominence API key to bring back the most relevant data in Google's eyes. And we try and manipulate a lot of things in the SEO world, or just businesses out there in digital. They're trying to put their best foot forward, but they really don't have the answers as far as what Google wants to see. And this actually pulls in all of the data exactly in Google's eyes of what the most prevalent data is, what's the most important data. And there's a couple of things that our plugin does. I mean, if you put in your business, you can put in radiuses, you can create hyper-local specific targeting. You can do all of these things with just short codes. And then it actually turns that into an HTML page, which I'll show you. And then that HTML page is live on your website, and you're not doing a call out to Google's API keys, so you're not being charged astronomical fees. The other thing that we did is we wanted to make it simple. And in our eyes, making it simple was an annual fee instead of a monthly fee, and all of this rigmarole. We wanted to make it very cost effective for the industry, because I think that's key, especially for agencies that are doing 10, 20, hundreds of sites, whatever that looks like, to not be encumbered with a monthly fee for a pay to play type plugin. How did I do?
Interesting. So you've got us hooked. Show us what the hell this thing does.
Yeah,
how easy it is to use, and we'll talk about pricing and everything else after that.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to move this over to this screen and then share my screen. One of them, share screen. It's easiest with two. Yep. God, it's like every time I do this, I have to do it again. We're going to share screen 3. I jokingly tell everybody that I call my office NASA, because I have 4 screens. I have 3 that are in front of me, and then 1 above me, and all kinds of coding nerd stuff, right? So I'm going to show you how simple this is. Here's local prominence is the name of the plugin. And then there's another piece here where you see local prominence where you have to put in your places API key, which it shows you here. All right, so we have instructions on how to get your places API key. I mean, it's fairly simple. Here's your places API key, and then here's your short codes. So there's two different types. You can change the radius, you can change all of this information. So you're setting up a location ID, or it's calling out to Google Places, and it's saying, okay, this is the place within, let's say, Rochester, New York as the city center. And then we want to look at a point of interest, and there's different points of interest. So that's a little bit more advanced. I'm going to show you the basic keyword plugin and how it's used. And this is just an example. It is literally as easy. I'm just going to copy this here. And this is actually a live site that I'm building out for dogs, for hypoallergenic dogs. And then I'm going to go ahead and create a page. And when I create a page, I'm literally just going to do pet stores near, and let's choose a city. Let's use Oyster Bay, New York. So I'm going to put in Oyster Bay, and I'm done. Now there's a couple of things that I'm going to change here. One, I'm going to change. Sorry, my thing's updating. I'm going to change this to just Oyster Bay here.
Yeah.
Basic location relevance, right? And then I'm going to give it a parent of New York. And actually, let's call this hypoallergenic dog services Oyster Bay, right? So now we're creating hyper relevance because I'm looking for this information. Now on this, I'm just going to change this to no sidebar, just for ease of use. And then I'm going to go ahead and copy that plugin, or I'm going to copy that shortcode in, and I'm going to change this to Oyster Bay. And then I'm going to change this to, let's say, pet store for a keyword. All right, and I'm going to create a distance. This is in meters of 2,000 meters. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to preview this information. And it's going to automatically pull in all of this data. And what it's doing is it's doing a call out specifically to Google, and it's showing that there's one, pet store within this location, Oyster Bay, New York. Now, what I could do is I could expand the radius. I could change the keyword here. I can do a whole bunch of things here. All right, and I can change it to veterinarians. I can change it to animal hospitals. I can put in whatever keyword I want to use, and it's gonna create that same call out, and it's gonna use Google's all of Google's information. So it's pulling in relevant data for the area. It's pulling in a phone number. It's pulling in their website, and it's pulling in this Google information, right?
Yeah.
And so it's giving you all of Google's information, but more importantly, it's bringing in the reviews. So you're getting all of the keyword information here that Google is feeling is the most important. So I'm gaining relevance for pets. I'm gaining relevance for Oyster Bay, New York, and I'm gaining relevance for anything that's here's puppy. So I'm gaining relevance for puppy, and this looks pretty good, doesn't it?
Yeah, that looks spot on to me.
Gives me total ratings. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this, and then I'm just going to go ahead and publish this page. Super simple. Maybe it won't let me save it. All right, so what happened here is it automatically styled and it created the HTML for the results once we publish that page here. So you can go in and style it however you want, but the main point is that it's not going to do that call out again. So let me go ahead and view the page, and there's that same information, and it's saved off.
Right, so can I stop you there for a second?
Yep.
Now, if you didn't do this with HTML and you were repeatedly doing that call out through Google's API, what happens?
Yeah, it's going to give you, so Google Places API key gives you 200 free searches a day, and then they charge you 1.6 cents per call out after that to their API key. So what happens, the reason why we transform this into an HTML page is you're only using one of those free API call outs. And it's actually more than that. There's a call out for the image. So there's about six call outs that are on this page. For anybody using a similar plugin that isn't protected in this way, that's not creating the HTML, when somebody visits the site and it does a call out again, it's going to do that call out over and over again. So what happens is you could have a bot traffic come in, you could have whatever that's just visiting the page, and all of a sudden you're going to get an astronomical bill from Google, which we actually experienced in the development phase. So the developer wasn't or had a redirect, and he did thousands and thousands and thousands of call outs over like a 2-hour period, and then all of a sudden got an astronomical bill back from Google because of all of these call outs that were happening. So it's you don't want that, right?
No, definitely not.
How do you feel about the simplicity of this?
I think it's very simple, very easy to use, and as you say, creating that relevance and giving Google what it wants, in terms of the reviews and stuff, is always a good thing.
Yeah, if we create one for New York City, obviously we're going to have more results. I just pulled a city from New York and pulled in the data just for an example. But if I go back into my pages, and again, this is just a site that's being built out. But if I go back into my pages, you can see down here, I think we have New York City. Yeah, so we have New York City. Obviously, there's going to be a whole bunch more views or a whole bunch more resources for New York City than there is for whatever Oyster Bay, New York that I created. And it's pulling in all of this relevant data. Now, what's super cool is we can actually go in and click on the person's profile, and it pulls up the actual reviewer's information, right? Mm-hmm. So there's ties into all of these people for local relevance that shows you all of that data. So it has their website, it has all of that information is already pre-programmed in to the plugin. And you can see the photo, it gives photo credit. This is about as white hat as it gets, right? I know we're always super keen on black hat and trying to get away with things, but why not take advantage of Google's API keys and use them for what they're supposed to, or what they're meant to be used for, and create relevance, based on that information. That's where we're going with this.
Yeah.
Now we could also go in and edit the page, and we could change out any of this information. So we have latitude, longitude, we have all of this stuff. You could do map embeds, you could put in information about, New York City from a location, because this is a standard page. So you can go in and create all of that regular information, your map, maps, your driving directions, your just general overview of New York City if that's your intent. You could also use it in mass page builders. I mean, with caution, obviously, you don't want to build 50,000 pages and then get that astronomical bill from Google, right? But, it's pretty easy that we could actually create this and maybe do all of New York in one day.
Yeah.
And maybe all of Pennsylvania the next day. You can create directory sites, which I think, you can do anything with it. I mean, it's carte blanche, right? So the other drawbacks of the other tools that are available on the market is, they're kind of putting everything into a box. They don't allow all of those changes to be made because it's just doing a constant API call out for one thing. So with this information, you're pulling in what is the most prevalent data from Google. You're putting that all onto a page. You're showing Google, you can do internal linking to the different pieces and parts of your website, and it's all extremely green.
Yeah. This would also be relatively good even for guys selling guest posts that maybe want to add a bit more relevance to those articles, if you've got a whole network of websites and stuff, this is all good content that adds a hell of a lot more relevance and prominence and everything else from a local level, because loads of people have networks of websites. But what you say there is this can be twisted into so many different things. Like as an SEO, your mind's just like shit.
Yeah, everybody asked me, they're like, how exactly should I use it? And I'm like, however you like. You know what I mean? There's so many different ways. If you look at this site, and I'll give you a little bit of background to the site. A friend of mine is married to a lady who she got black lung disease when she was a kid, and I'm kind of like the godfather or whatever you want to call it. I don't want to call it a godfather, but I'm Uncle Brad, if that makes any sense, right?
Yeah.
And so his wife is rejecting her lung transplant that she got as a kid. So her kids are watching her die, right? And so I said, well, for the kids, I want to get them a hypoallergenic dog because mom is having problems breathing, et cetera, et cetera. And I couldn't find one. Right. So there's like the 4,000, 5,000, all of those dogs that are just super expensive. I'm like, I just want the hypoallergenic mutt or whatever it is, I couldn't really find it. So I created this, hypoallergenic dogs for sale, which I'm releasing, and it's not a money play for me. It's a service, because I couldn't find it. I'm going to go ahead and create that for other people to have a resource. But how do I actually gain local prevalence with the dog breeders and tie everything in with an internal page linking when a breeder signs on and they're selling their puppies on this classified marketplace to have that relevance back into New York City or whatever their location relevance. So that was the problem. This is the solution, right?
Yeah.
And then as we started going through it from a development phase, I said, wow, you can do this with it. You can do this with it. I mean, really, the sky's the limit as far as you can do anything with it.
For me, off the top of my head, just thinking quickly, like I've got a hotel affiliate website and, a whole bunch of other search terms that would help that website be like things to do near that hotel or in that specific area. And this would be the perfect thing to do. And you can still add in your affiliate stuff and everything else here as well. So, whether it's local restaurants in New York or things to do in New York, there's so many other add-on values that you can add to that type of affiliate website if you've got it, things to do and all that stuff. So that's one thing you could essentially use it for, just if people are like, give us an idea of what you would use it for.
You can actually do that. You could put in a company name, if we're doing local relevance by type, you can go in and create, let's say, your company name, whatever the location is, and then literally type point of interest within a radius, and it's going to pull in restaurants. It's going to pull in parks and, all of that location relevant data. The sky is the limit. You can really do anything. You can change that radius out to, if I'm doing New York City, obviously I don't want to leave it at 2,000 meters because, there's millions and millions of people in New York City. So I want to be able to pull in more data. And I would just simply change, I can literally change this, create a new page. So if I create a new page here, let's just do New York City and leave it as, places to go in New York City. And
there's so many other search terms, like you've got places to go or things you take kids to do. There's so many other, the list could go on and on. It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. So we could change this to, let's just leave it as Rochester, and then just change this to Rochester because I think I already have a New York City page, right? So I could go in here and just, places to go in Rochester, here's citizen, data name. If I pull up Rochester, is this going to be relevant? So if I do Rochester, New York, and I pull up maps, what are the key places? So the Strong Museum, You know, I can literally go back in here and create a page that is the Strong Museum. If this breaks, it's your fault, by the way.
Yeah.
The
I'll
Strong
take it.
Museum, right? So that was the place. You know, let's go ahead and preview what this looks like. Maybe. Oh,
Don't believe me.
let's see what it pulls in. The nice part is if you create something that's an error, it's going to tell you that it's an error. So it gives you that opportunity to, you know, to go back and fix whatever's there. So we always want to preview everything to make sure that it's running properly. I think I did the radius too far. I think I did 4,000 meters. Oh, there it is, right? Places to go. So now you're pulling in, because it's a point of interest, you're pulling in, you know, Hyatt, you're pulling in, look at all of this local relevance. Staybridge, there's another hotel in on Broadway. And now keep in mind, since we just did a local relevance, this is what Google is feeling is the most important data in Google in using their Prominence API.
Yeah.
University of Rochester. So you're building up all of this local relevance. Here's a museum. There's a restaurant, right? It'll pull in all of this data. And we did 4,000 meters, I think. Here's the Strong Museum. So here's what we were looking for based on location relevance. Bus station? Yes. Who are we to argue with Google, right? School of Music, Rochester. I guess that's the city, right? So it's pulling in the all of the information. You know, auto stadium. You can put anything you want in here.
Yeah.
Sky's the limit. There's a house. I wouldn't stay in that house, but it gets pretty good reviews, and Google feels it's important, right? I don't think I had vacation there. I don't know. To each his own, right? I have no clue what Rochester Works is, but it's pulling in all of the images. The other thing too is we actually found that, you know, the way this was created is if there isn't a relevant image within Google Places, it's not going to pull in the data. And there's certain things where we had people testing it and they came back and said, my business isn't showing up. And we just had to be honest with them and tell them that their GMB was screwed up and how it was being seen in Google Places. If it didn't have a photo, if it didn't have, you know, reviews, if it didn't have all of that information, it just isn't going to pull it in.
Yeah.
Did I win? Are you satisfied? This is pretty slick, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it's great.
Pretty simple.
Yeah, pretty simple, pretty easy to use. Covers a lot of donkey work, adds a lot of local relevance, prominence. So it's how you use your creative mind to then go away and add these to your web.
I'm gonna take this off so I can wait. Stop screen. All right, so otherwise I'm looking at my other screen. I don't know. Like I said, I've got four screens, but ideally, yeah, I think that's pretty simple. We have some price break points as soon as I get to that right screen. So a single site license for a year is $24, right? So it's super cheap. We're doing 3 for $68.40. You know what I mean? $68.40. So this isn't a thing where we're you know getting, I don't know, we're not charging through the nose. I don't see a point in charging people recurring monthly fees for something that they're going to use it and maybe reuse it. Obviously, you're going to want to update your page as you see fit, right? Maybe every 3 months, 6 months, or whatever that is. I don't see people paying a monthly fee. That just doesn't make sense. I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, listen, it's sometimes good to just have a one-off fee. One of the most popular tools on the market was Scrapebox, one-off fee of $97.
Yeah,
and even to this day, you know, people still use it, and you know, it doesn't always have to be a monthly recurring fee. We might not all use Scrapebox on a daily basis, and it'll be similar to this. You probably use it, then you know, put it to the side for a while, and then maybe use it in another project, you know, a couple of months down the line, whatever.
And that's kind of a pain point for me, Craig, is, you know, I tend to cancel subscriptions based on the subscription cost coming back and pissing me off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden I get a bill and I'm like, I'm not using that. I mean, if anybody saw my subscription fees for different things, it would choke a hippo. I'm sure yours is the same, right? You get all
Yeah.
these bills in, and you're paying a monthly bill for this, monthly bill for that. So the idea behind this was, let's do a recurring subscription, make it cost effective, not, put people through the ringer of having to justify whether they keep us or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're providing this much value, and that's what we're charging. I mean, and we set it up that, we had people come in and they wanted a lot of licenses. So we did like a 1, 3, 5, 10, 25, 50. It goes all the way up to 1,500 licenses. If you need 1,500 licenses, congratulations. I am impressed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're the man, right? If you only need one, just buy one.
There's people out there who have got outrageous amounts of local websites. So it would not surprise me if there's someone out there that needs the 1,500 license. It really wouldn't. But so when does this go live? When can people start to use this properly?
Today, by when you publish it, but tomorrow is the real day because we're a day early, right? So
we're recording this on Friday, but as of Saturday, the 21st or the 22nd, whatever it is, of August.
Yeah.
This is when this is going to go live, so you can use the link below to go and grab it. Now, in terms of people installing it and all that kind of stuff, it's going to be your standard plugin installation, and you've got obviously the page you showed there where it tells you exactly what to do.
Yep.
Is this supported in any way? Just so we can be clear.
Absolutely. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set up like a Facebook group for people that download it. That we don't do the typical developer thing where it's 180 days and we take all of our money and fly to Thailand or one of those types of deals. I mean, everything we do, we support forever. I mean, it's kind of I don't know why people don't do that, I guess is kind of my thing. So we have a first level support, we have a second level support, and then third level support as the developer comes in. We're all part of this. So we'll have a Facebook group. The installation is pretty simple. Once they purchase it, it'll take them to a download screen. They get an email with their license key automatically, which also that license key shows up on the screen. Super easy to install. It's all updated through WordPress, just like a standard plugin. If there's an update available that we've made changes, you'll see the update happen, and we're constantly evolving things. So even though this is going live, we're already working on things, improvements within the plugin, right? Because we see what our end finished product looks like, and we're like, yeah, well, we'd like to add this, or we want to, we want to see this look a little bit differently, or whatever that looks like. We're here for the long haul.
Good. No, I just wanted to know if people had a problem, what the support looked like. But obviously, Facebook groups and stuff like that are always good as well. Just because obviously it's going to be a lot of repeat questions. If there is a problem and there is a fix, then you can get that out to the masses. So do sign up to all the relevant groups and everything else, people, if you're looking to use it. And it's also good to network with others and see what ideas they're using in the Facebook group in terms of how they would utilize the plugin for themselves, which, something that I find interesting is always just to see, what sort of weird ass stuff that people, the way they think and the way they monetize stuff, and it's always great to sit back and watch some of that as well. So I highly recommend joining that group then, guys.
And the other thing, and I'm not going to give away all the secrets, but we actually have somebody who created a free GMB course who does a lot of extremely black hat local stuff. I'm not going to give away any names, but he's in your backyard. And he actually, as part of this, created a free GMB course, and very, very well known within our industry, and as just a part of it, right? So we have a lot of expertise behind this, of people who are all across the board My end is more national and gaining local relevance. The gentleman that is also part of this, his expertise is literally the most black hat stuff you could ever imagine. And as we went through and we started talking about creating it, I mean, just the value with all of the different facets, right? So he's on board, and he's going to be able to answer all of those questions, because I'm not a GMB guy. I'm not in the field doing GMB work every day. That's just not my thing. But this guy is doing, I don't know, probably 400 new GMBs a week. And you'll know the name when you see it, right? But I'm going to let that be the secret. But so we made it a point, because with the last plugin that we created, everybody was asking me about GMBs, and I'm like, I don't do GMBs. I don't know. I mean, the sky's the limit, and people will ask questions, what's the best way to use this? And I'm like, well, what's the best way to use a screwdriver? You know what I mean? You can, what's the best way to use a hammer? I don't know. I mean, there's just so many tools in that toolbox, and I want to make sure that we're covering all the different areas. And I'm not the right guy for GMB advice. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you want to know how to rank a national site, that's kind of my expertise. But when you start talking about the ins and outs of everything, I mean, I would say this guy, whether people know, a lot of people know him real well in our industry, but even for the people that don't know him, I mean, the guy's got some bones. You know what I mean? He's been doing it for quite a while. Yeah. You'll know when you see it.
Cool. I'm sure I'll find out after this, because I'm going to be asking very question. I can kind of guess who it is, but there's a couple of names that spring to mind, but I will do that off air and keep you guys guessing. But if you do want to guess in the comments below. But the link is below, and you can grab it as soon as this video is live. But anything else, Bradley, that we've missed out that you need to touch on?
I'm excited to see people actually succeed. I mean, in the end, it's about creating stuff that people can use and they're seeing value in it, bringing the tools. I mean, what people don't realize is that, I create plugins for what I need. And then, I'm just starting to kind of offer those out to the marketplace. And I'm not building stuff to just to sell something. I'm building something because it's a real need of mine for whatever that need is. And I'm assuming that my needs are also mirrored in the industry with, other people have the same needs.
100%. That's what we all love, is a new tool or a new plugin to be able to kind of do something a bit more cleverer than, waiting.
I do want to make a disclaimer. Is it okay if I make a disclaimer?
Uh-huh.
There is no tool on the market that is the big red button that solves all your problems, right? It does not exist. And I keep telling people that, if they're going into something thinking that this is the end all be all, this is one little piece of the pie, or one little piece of the puzzle, just like any other, we're releasing roughly, I think, 4 more plugins that all have different various tools and specific uses, and they'll all play together with each other, and it'll make more sense as the rest of the plugins are coming out as far as how to use them, to tie everything together. I just don't want anybody thinking that they're putting on the Wizard of Oz hat and they're standing behind a curtain pressing a button and they win the internet.
Nah.
How's that for the sales pitch? Or disclaimer.
On that note, guys, we will wrap up. You can grab the plugin using the link below. And let us know in the comments on how you're getting on with it, and obviously join the group. Have you made the group up yet, Bradley?
I haven't. I'm doing that today, and I'm changing the email marketing campaigns around. So there's a subscribe thing. People can go in and subscribe to our updates for our next releases. And I think that even if this isn't, there's a couple of things. Even if this isn't the right tool for you, I can almost guarantee that one of the next 3 will be something that is of use. And two, I know that people are hesitant to sign up for email lists. I hate spammers probably more than anybody else. I get about 600 emails a day for all of the different business things that I do, but we're not going to spam anybody because one, I don't have the time to create that email campaign, and two, let's make it important. You know what I mean? So if you want to stay up to date, sign up and stay on top of things, I guess.
Cool, definitely do. And when all of that stuff comes out, I will have links for that as well. So do check it out, guys. But Bradley, I know it's Friday night, and I do appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate your support, man. I don't think people thank you enough.
Yeah, no, I look forward to the next bunch of tools as well. If you are interested in the other tools or plugins that Bradley's bringing out, do keep an eye out. We'll also be helping them push them out as well. But yeah, take it easy, everyone. To below, and thank you again, Bradley.
Awesome. Thank you.
Perfecto.